Hello, we are on Chapter 8, Lesson 6. We are comparing and ordering fractions, and our essential question is how can different fractions name the same amount? To compare fractions, create equivalent fractions with the same denominators or the same numerators. Use the least common multiple. So again, when we were looking for multiples, those are the songs that we've been practicing all year long, and that will help us solve these problems as well. Or the least multiple common to sets of multiples. Okay, so example 1. Ramon has an insect collection. The table shows the lengths of 4 insects in his collection. Which is longer, a mosquito or a whirligig beetle? Okay, so what I need to know, my question is, I need to compare the mosquito I need to compare that, so I'm either going to do greater than, less than, or equal with the whirligig beetle. It's really important not to lose sight of what the question is asking, because you can do all the math, right? But if you forget what the question is, you're going to end up with the wrong answer, and all that work is going to be wasted. So I'm going to keep that at the top of my notes page here. You can do it on your whiteboard if you want. My whiteboard pen is dead, so I'm doing it on scratch paper. Okay, so mosquito compared to the whirligig beetle. Now I'm going to use my chart that they've given me right here. A mosquito is 1/4 and a whirligig beetle is 3/8. Okay, so one way to do this is I can draw a picture. I'm going to show you the picture way just because this concrete method is really helpful for some. And I've drawn this circle cut it into fourths, so just drawing a T in it. This one I'm going to cut into eighths by drawing a T and an X. And that's a great strategy to try and make equal groups. And some of my sections aren't quite equal, but it should be close enough. Now, one way to check this is I can shade in 1/4 here. And I can shade in 3/8 over here. Okay, and it looks to me like the 3/8 is going to be greater, but I'm going to go ahead and go through the process here and make sure that what I'm seeing here is right. But it looks like the 3/8 is what's going to be bigger just from my pictures. If you have a printer and you can print out the charts to compare fractions, that can help you with this lesson. Group 1, I strongly suggest that for you. Okay, so when I'm finding my least common multiple, it's also called the LCM. You'll hear that if you've got older brothers and sisters, and they'll be doing LCM, and that's of the denominator. So I'm going to use the 4 and the 8, and then I'm going to sing my multiples song, and that will give me all my multiples. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. And then I'm going to do 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72. Pop goes the 80. And so now I found my multiples. I need to find the least common multiple. It's kind of helpful to think of this as working backwards when you're doing. First you need to find the multiples. Then you need to find the common multiples. And common means it's in both. Okay, so I've got 4 and 8. 4 is here, but it's not here. I've got 8 in both places. That's common. I've got 12, but 12 is not here. I've got 16 here and here. That is common. I've got 20, but 20 is not here. 24 is here and here. 28 is not here. 32 is here and here. 36 is not here. 40 is here and here. So what I just circled, I've done the multiples. I've just circled all the common multiples. It's 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. Those are the common multiples, at least as far as I've gone. Now I need to find the least common multiple. And if I've got 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, what is the least of those? Well, the smallest or least is 8. 8 is the least common multiple of 4 and 8. So that is going to be my new denominator for my two fractions. I've got 1/4 and I've got 3/8. 1/4 equals how many 8s? And 3/8 is already in 8s. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't need to change that. Can you still see that? Make sure everybody can still see everything I've done. Okay, so I've got 1/4, I've got 3/8. What do I multiply 4 by to get to 8? Well, I can use my multiples again. 4, 8. I multiplied twice. 2. Multiplied times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Whatever I do at the bottom, I have to do the top. 1 times 2 is 2. So now I'm comparing 1/4, which is 2/8, with 3/8. And now looking at it that way, since my denominators are the same, 2/8 is going to be less than 3/8. So I can go all the way back up to my top. If a mosquito is 2/8 and a whirligig beetle is 3/8, I can tell that the mosquito is less than the whirligig beetle. Now the question is, which is longer? So I can say the that's a horrible W. Whirligig, that's a fun word to write. Beetle is longer. The whirligig beetle is longer. And that's a good sentence. If I wanted to make an A sentence, I would write the whirligig beetle is longer than the mosquito. That's how I get an A sentence. So as it shows you here, it only found the multiples at 4, and they found the least common of 8. I did all the way up to 10 so that you could see more example of what common multiples are, but that's okay. And then they converted the fractions. They got 2/8 for mosquito, 3/8 for the whirligig, and then they compared 2/8 is less than 3/8. So a whirligig beetle is longer, and that's what the answer will show. Okay, so that's how that first example is done. Let's look at the next page. Okay, I just turned and got to page 518, and I'm looking at example 2, and this one is awesome because we're comparing 3 things instead of just 2. So if this is starting to feel overwhelming for you, I would encourage you to stop and do the guided practice for the ones that are just comparing 2 fractions, because the first several problems you're going to do are all comparing 2 fractions. So you don't have to worry about comparing 3 until you get to problem 12. And you'll still get good practice comparing if you just do comparing 2. So please don't feel like you have to watch this whole video through. Watch what we've already done and then do those first 10 problems of the independent work, and then come back and you can finish watching example 2, where I'm going to compare 3, which is more complicated, and it can be a lot to take in if you're just trying to watch all at once. Okay, the table shows the cooking times needed for different foods. Order the foods from least to greatest cooking times. So the thing that I have to remember is least to greatest. And I'm going to use the table. It says rice is half an hour, or quarter hour, sorry. Rice is a quarter. Lasagna, ooh, I love lasagna. There we go. 5/8. And enchiladas, these are good too. Oh, it's making me hungry. Is 2/3. So those are the ones I have to put in order from least to greatest. And one thing I can do to help myself think is I can draw my fraction circles. There's 1/4, or divided into fourths. Here is 8ths with my T and my X. And I'm going to draw 2/3 by doing a Y. That's a great way to make thirds. 1, 2, 3 with just that Y shape. Now I can shade 1/4, 5/8, all that would be shaded, and 2/3. Okay, so I can look at these and kind of have a pretty good idea about what the order of these is. But I'm going to use that to help. This is sort of my estimate. This is my thought. And then I'm going to go through and do the math to check. Okay, so I've got 1/4, so I need the multiples of 4. I've got 5/8, so I'm going to do the multiples of 8. And then I've got 2/3, so I'm also going to do the multiples of 3. And I know that in my other page here, I already did the multiples of 4 and 8. I like singing my song, so I can put it again. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72. Pop goes the 80. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. And I can stop when I get to 10. Now I'm going to look for the common, and this is tricky because I have to look at the common in all 3. So it's a lot more to look at. I can see 8 is here and here, but it's not down here. I can see 12 is here, but it's not there. 16 is here and here, but it's not down here. 20, 24 is here and here, and 24 is here. Look at that. So I've got 24, 24, and 24. And that I've got 28, but 28 is not here. I've got 32. It's here and here, but 32 is not. Even if I went farther, 30, the next one would be 33. So it's not going to be on this. But I've already got the least because this is the first one in my rows. So 24 is my least common multiple, my LCM. Okay, so I'm going to write my new fractions. 1/4 is going to go to 20-something 24ths. And I've got 5/8 is going to go to something 24ths. And 2/3 is going to go to something 24ths, because that's my least common multiple that I found in my chart. Okay, now what did I multiply 4 by to get to 24? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I did 4 times 6. I'm going to do 1 times 6. That gives me 6. 8 times what is 24? 1, 2, 3. 8 times 3. Whatever I do the bottom, going to do the top. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times what is 24? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times, or 3 times 8. That was an oops, sorry. 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16. So now I've got 6 24ths, 15 24ths, and 16 24ths. And I need to put that in order according to what I put here, least to greatest. Okay, so 6 24ths is going to be the least. The next is going to be 15 24ths. And the greatest is going to be 16 24ths. Okay. Now I can use this, the original ones, to go back. Okay, which one was 1/4? 1/4 was rice. So rice is the least. Lasagna, 5/8 matches to lasagna. So then lasagna. And then 16, 20, or 2/3 matches to enchiladas. So now I'm going to write rice, lasagna, and enchiladas. That's the order for the least to greatest as far as cooking time. Now, if you had left 6 24ths, 15 24ths, and 16 24ths, the problem with that is you would have gotten all of this math right, but you didn't go back to what the question in the problem was asking, order the foods from least to greatest. It didn't ask what are the fractions. So you need to convert it back to what the foods are in order to answer the question. Okay, and now I'm going to write my complete sentence answer. The foods in order from least to greatest cooking time is rice, lasagna, and enchiladas. Why did I capitalize those? Because I really like them. Bad capitalizing. But you get the idea. The foods in order from least to greatest or cooking time is rice, lasagna, and enchiladas. That's how example 2 would be done, and I've already used 15 minutes. I'm so sorry. Okay, I've already made a video longer than I like, but I want to make sure, I think this is really important for you all to see every step. So I'm going to try and go a little bit quicker. These ones are similar to example 1 all the way until you get to problem number 12. Then you're going to want to look at example 2 to see how to do these ones. The nice thing is this, you should be able to find the common denominator pretty quickly. And then there was one, which one was it? That had 4, 3, oh, this one, 4, 3, and 8. Well, if you followed through 4, 3, and 8, we've already done all the multiples. So for number 13, you can use what we've already done here, and you don't have to go through every single step because all the multiples are done for you. So hopefully that helps you there. I did notice when you get to number 20, the word problems are pretty much the same as what we did in the examples. But this one is a little bit different. Michaela said that 3/4 of figure 1 is greater than 2/4 of figure 2. So if we're looking at this, the shaded blue part here, she's saying that this shaded blue part is greater than this shaded blue part. Find and correct. So we know she made a mistake because it says find and correct her mistake. Now, something that I want to point out about these models that I've done is they're different in one way from these figures that are shown here. You can see what I tried to do is with regard to the pieces within them and also the size of the whole shape. So that has something to do with these shapes here. You'll notice something very different between what I have my example here and what you see on this example here. So hopefully that helps you answer number 20. 3 fractions that are not greater than 1/2, so something that's less than 1/2, you need 3 different answers. You could have, there's a lot of them. So choose 3 fractions that are not greater or less than 1/2. How can I compare 2 fractions with the same numerator? Okay, so if the numerator is the same, the number of pieces it's cut into will tell you which one. If I have 1/2 or 1/4, and then I'm comparing that to 1/8, you can think about that for number 22, and we'll have to go and follow up on that later. I also made this, and I'm going to try and attach it to the lesson, and because I think this will help you with your independent work. Let me do this. I'm going to share it with you as well. Okay, so I put the steps. First, you want to draw or use models to estimate the fractions and compare visually. So that's what I'm doing here in my model, the pictures. Okay, so that's part A. That's an estimation step that is really helpful to help you get through the rest. Then your first step is to write the multiples of all the denominators, which is the bottom of all the fractions. So that's what I've done in this section here. Write the multiples. Then find the common multiples of the denominators. And in this case, I only found the one common to all 3. So the common multiple, find the common multiples, then find the least common multiples, denominator. Then write equivalent fractions. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm writing 1/4 is equal to 6/24, 5/8 is equal to 15/24, 2/3 is equal to 16/24. So that's step 3, find equivalent fractions for all the fractions. Put the fractions in order as indicated in the problem. Since this one said least to greatest, then I put the fractions in order here, least to greatest. And last, answer the question, which I did right here after I converted them back to the foods that it was asking for in the problem. I answered the question. The foods in order from least to greatest. Okay? Now I'm trying to make a mnemonic for you, and I came up with all these steps would be, you could think of them as multiples, least common multiple, equivalent fractions, and order. And then to make this sort of something you can remember, I came up with this. Mrs. Hildebrand loves every otter. So if that helps you, if you think, oh, Mrs. Hildebrand loves every otter, and then you think, oh, that means multiples, least common multiple, equivalent fractions, and order, and then you will go back to remembering all the steps you need to do in order to solve the problem. Or you can just open this file. I'll attach it. Hopefully that helps you. and you're able to get through chapter 8, lesson, what was this, lesson 4? Let me go back. Lesson 6. Okay, so you've got this all the way to the end of the homework. Don't forget, this first homework page has all words to help you understand. And then you've got the back page 522 that also needs to be done. Thanks so much. I'm sorry this is a long video, but I think it was important to give you all the information. So thanks for watching everything and keep up the hard work.